Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. DJ here as usual. Going to talk to you about breaking news, breaking yesterday I should say, but just got round to putting it together, and it's very important, it's very saddening, it's knocked me for six. I've commented on this for some years now, but it all came to a head with Musk accusing the government of not doing anything about it, the government refusing to take any responsibility for a national inquiry. And yes, I'm talking about the sex gangs, the rape gangs, the grooming gangs as they prefer to call them. And I'm going to tell you what the government's agreed. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, hang tight. If you have seen it but don't know the 12 points they've accepted, then hang tight, because I'm going to tell you what they are. Now, it is a long video, this, with lots of details. I'll make it as simple as possible. This is straight from the government's own report, so they've agreed to it all. So here we go. So at last, the Britain's government under Sir Keep Starmer has agreed to implement the national inquiry into the grooming gangs, rape gangs, that have been operating for decades, with seemingly no recourse of action to stop, prevent them and to bring them to book. Baroness Casey's report has been accepted by the government, and it has been agreed to implement all 12 recommendations. Laws will be enacted to bring about the sharing of information, the improvement of data collection, and to bring about prosecutions. These are the 12 recommendations to be implemented and actioned and reported back by the end of 2025. So this year they've got to report it back. And so recommendation number 1. The law in England and Wales should be changed so adults who intentionally penetrate the vagina, the anus or the mouth of a child under the age of 16 receives mandatory charges of rape. The government's response is, we will change the law to ensure that adult abusers who intentionally penetrate the vagina, anus or mouth of an under 16 are charged with rape. Now there is a proviso here which I haven't written down, and it is a proviso. They do not want, they're looking at this law to change it, but they're desperate not to let youngsters who are engaging in sex under the age of 16 are prosecuted. So they're not going to withhold the law which states that it's illegal to have sex under the age of 16, because they know there's lots of youngsters are, and so they're going for the adults, not for the teenage boy. Okay, so that's a little proviso which isn't down on here, but I know that to be true. And they go on, the government says, our laws must never provide protection for adult abusers rather than child victims of these despicable crimes. We share Baroness Casey's view that adults who intentionally penetrate the vagina, anus or mouth of a child under 16 should face the most serious charges, and we accept the recommendations to change the law in this area. We need close consultation with the Criminal Prosecution Service and the police as we develop this legislation, recognising that charges, decisions are a matter for them, for the courts, for the prosecution and for the police. We need to carefully consider the changes that we make to that law, that it continues to target those with intent to harm and to limit the risk of criminalising young people, this is what I mentioned, isn't it, in genuinely consensual relationships. Okay, so I did cover that. I didn't know it was in here. Recommendation 2. So that was recommendation 1. We'll move on to recommendation 2. A national police operation and national inquiry coordinating a series of targeted investigations should be launched into child sexual exploitation in England and Wales. The National Criminal Investigation, the government's response is, the government will support the National Crime Agency, NCA, and the policing to launch a national criminal operation into group-based sexual exploitation. So that Starmer's U-turn, massive U-turn, who said that it was only right-wingers who wanted this inquiry, national inquiry, and now he's agreed that he wants one as well. That's good, isn't it? The government's response. The government will support the National Crime Agency, NCA, and the policing to launch a national criminal operation into group-based sexual exploitation. So they've agreed it in words as well. Since January, as a result of the new investment and policy approach announced by the Home Secretary, over 800 grooming gangs court cases that were originally dropped by the police have now been identified for formal review. 800 cases dropped. I bet there's a lot more as well. But with police forces being asked to reopen investigations and pursue new lines of inquiry where appropriate, in order to get more perpetrators behind bars. The trouble is we haven't got enough room in the prisons, have we? Stop arresting people for standing on the street silently praying. Stop arresting people for having a slogan that says, here to speak if you wish. Stop putting those in prison. It's wrong. And put people who actually commit crimes into prison. Okay? The government continues to build on this crucial work. We will now work with the NCA, the National Crime Agency, and the police forces to launch a new national criminal operation on grooming gangs and group-based child exploitation, which they put down as CSE. I had to look up what they meant by CSE, of course. We will start work now to design a new national operation encompassing policing and all statutory partners that target the most egregious offenders. These heinous crimes should be under no doubt that they will take comprehensive action with every tool at our disposal to bring them to justice. Well, it's a bit late, but what do they say? Better late than never. It's been decades, hasn't it? Decades of these girls suffering from rapes. The first time this operation will bring together all arms of the national and local policing response to child sexual exploitation under a single national operation. The national operation will support both historic and current investigations because it's still going on, providing national expertise and specialism to support local intelligence-led investigations. We will draw on the best, let me get this, I don't want to mess it up. We will draw on the best from the National Crime Association's authorities, Operation Stovewood, and West Yorkshire Police's innovative Smith algorithm to ensure new operations is taking an intelligence-led approach to identifying risk of children and taking swift action, including local partners. Good for them. This national criminal operation will have a clear objective to help forces in local areas to identify criminal activity, bring more perpetrators to justice and keep children safe from harm. This operation will be overseen by the National Crime Authority and will encompass existing specialist capabilities such as the CSE, a task force, Operation Hydrant and Tackling Organised Exploitation Programme, TOEX. Too many initials. We will also look to develop, this is the government replying, we will also look at develop a rigorous new national operating model for investigating the complex crimes of group-based child sexual exploitation to be rolled out for use by all forces to ensure that when it comes to getting justice, there's no postcode lottery for victims and survivors of these vile crimes. This will be factored into our plans for police reform. Well. I did one the other day, which the police are saying they haven't got enough money to do this, and they haven't got enough people in the force to help them. But of course, if they stopped ploughing through the internet looking for people who might have said hurty words, then they'd have more time, wouldn't they? And more police officers available on the streets and in the investigation procedures. But who am I to say? Well, I'm a member of the public, we're right to say, aren't I? Okay. We will continue to ensure a retained focus on the broader threat of child sexual abuse and exploitation, of which group-based offending is part. A national inquiry coordinating a series of targeting local investigations, and the government response will be to establish a national inquiry under the Inquiries Act to coordinate a series of targeted local investigations. Let's see if they work. Established under the Inquiries Act and headed by an independent chair, the Independent Commission on Grooming Gangs will have statutory powers to direct targeted investigations into local areas with the aim of holding institutions to account for current and historic failures in the response to group-based sexual exploitation, child sexual exploitation. The Commission will have the powers to compel local organisations to comply with its investigations, including providing information and summoning witnesses where required to get the truth and learn the lessons from past events. Following the appointment of the independent chair, the Commission will urgently begin considering evidence and data to provide the first local areas for investigation. This will be based on information provided by the police, the inspectorates, and through referrals from local agencies, victims and from survivors, and members of the public. Will work now at a pace, fast, to appoint a chair and agree the terms of reference. The Commission will be time limited. The exact length of time will be determined by the terms of reference. Now, I'm sorry this is long. I mean, this is only 2 recommendations, and there are 12. So I think I might go a bit faster and see what we can do. Okay. Recommendation 3. I'll ignore the recommendation and instead only tell you what the government has replied to that recommendation. We will legislate immediately in the Crime and Policing Bill to introduce a disregard scheme for the convicted individuals who were found guilty of prostitution offences as children. The criminal law is rightly involved to make clear that children cannot be prostitutes, and it is long overdue that individuals convicted of child prosecution offences have their convictions disregarded and criminal records expunged. We have repeatedly heard from victims the long-lasting damage that having a criminal record hanging over them into adulthood has caused, and it is imperative that this change is made to ensure those survivors can begin to heal and move on with their lives. The report signals concern that a wider cohort of victims of child sexual exploitation may have been unjustly criminalised when their position of victims of group-based child sexual exploitation was not properly identified or understood by the relevant authorities. We're talking about the police here, who they picked on the easy target, not on the ethnicity, not on the Pakistani grooming gangs, not on these Muslim gangs, but on the child that was being exploited. And so it's now the shoe's going to be on the other foot. They're going to start forgiving the children, asking for giving them an apology for accusing them and arresting them and giving them criminal records, and go after the people who abused them. Makes sense? Makes sense. Recommendation 4. The government should make mandatory let's move out from what the recommendations are and let's move on to what will be done. The Home Office will work with policing to improve the collection of ethnicity data of victims. So, were the victims all white? No, they weren't. Some were brown and were Hindus and Sikhs. You see that in my other posts that I've got on my channel. It is imperative that we fully understand the drivers behind this abuse to inform how can we best prevent and tackle it. Recommendation 5. Through the information sharing duty introduced in the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill, We are making it unequivocally clear information must be shared where it is necessary to safeguard and promote the welfare of children. The duty provides a robust legal foundation for safeguarding partners to act decisively and collaboratively. This new duty is designed to work hand in hand with mandatory reporting duty set out in the Crime and Policing Bill. To support practitioners in meeting with these new responsibilities, we will publish statutory guidance. We will work across government to engage with relevant inspectorates to ensure that the multi-agency information sharing duty is embedded into relevant accountability frameworks. Recommendation 6. The Department of Education should move swiftly to introduce unique reference numbers for children to improve opportunities for agencies to better share their information about children at risk of child abuse, sexual abuse. The government's response: the government is delivering this manifesto commitment through the Children's Welfare and Schools Bill. I'm a bit worried about this one because what they want to do is identify every child in school and with the police with their national health numbers, the National Health Service number, that we all have. I feel this is one of these surveillance techniques, that they'll be able to follow us from childhood into adulthood until death with our national insurance number, our unique number. I can see it's helpful in this prevention of gang rape, but it's a slight worry for me. I like my freedom, and I don't want the police and the government and the agencies to be able to track me. They're already tracking me with cameras in the city centres. They're tracking me with my driving licence. They're tracking me with my passport. They're tracking me with my national insurance number, my National Health Service number. What happened to freedom? But still, let's move on. Recommendation 6. The Department of Education should swiftly introduce the unique reference numbers. Yes, they're going to introduce them. It's a good way of bringing that in. And recommendation 7. Police information services should be upgraded. The Home Office will work with policing to review all relevant systems to ensure they allow for the necessary level of sharing between forces and upgrade systems where required as part of the reforms in the forthcoming Police Reform White Paper. This will improve investigations across police forces and boundaries to ensure perpetrators cannot evade justice. Recommendation 8. Child sexual exploitation investigations should be approached like the serious organisation crime. Yes, it is a serious crime. The government response through the National Criminal Operation and with the leadership of the NCA and the NPCC, that's the Children's Society, National Children's Association and the National Protection of Children, we will work with the police forces to drive consistency and rigour into child sexual exploitation investigations. They're going to create a new national operating model for tackling complex child sexual exploitation cases, and I hope it works. Recommendation 9. So I'm going quickly now, aren't I? Let's see. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. Oops. Recommendation 9. We must better understand the declining child sexual abuse and exploitation representation in the child and in the need to assess the data and the reasons for variations across local authorities. Different local authorities some have been brought up there and some have been lax, very, very lax. And the data they've been collating has been from very poor to good, but it should be the same. It shouldn't be a postcard lottery where someone gets it, some some information is recorded and some isn't. We will therefore publish an analysis by the end of 2025. I said it would have to be reported by the end of 2025. That aims to better understand what has happened regarding the decline in child protection data on child sexual abuse and exploitation. This will include child abuse victims, the demographics, the outcomes, the trend and local area variations over time. We will look at the overall fall in serious incident notifications, exploring where there is underreporting and if there is, why. Recommendation 10. The government should commission research into drivers for group-based child sexual exploitation. The government response is the Home Office will commission a new research into the drivers of group-based CSC. Now, the drivers are what motivates the grooming gangs? What motivates group gang rapes? What motivates taking young children to sexually exploit them? And it wasn't just sexual exploitation, and it wasn't just vagina and oral. It was anus as well, little boys sometimes as well. What motivates men to do these things? They want to know. And the Home Office response is they're going to appoint an independent reviewer to lead a programme of research across the communities, across academia and public institutions, examining the cultural and social drivers of child sexual exploitation. They put down misogyny, hatred against women, and violence against women and girls are the same. They've missed out boys, but some boys were raped and sexually abused and beaten up. And they're to look at the different ethnicities and age groups and the different modes of offending. What are they doing to these children? Recommendation 11. We're almost there now. The Department of Transport should take immediate action to put a stop to out-of-area taxis and bring in more rigorous statutory standards for local authority licensing and regulation of taxi drivers. And the government response to this recommendation is the Department of Transport will legislate to address the important issues raised in the report, tackling the inconsistent standards of taxi and private hire vehicles driver licences. We will work, the government said, as quickly as possible and consider all options, including out-of-area working, national standards and enforcement, seeking the best overall outcomes for passenger safety. Cameras in every taxi would be a start, wouldn't it? In the interim, we will act urgently to make improvements, including consulting on making local transport authorities responsible for taxi and private hire. Recommendation 12. Last one, you'll be pleased to hear. The government should commit to fully resourcing the implementation of these recommendations over multiple years and to tracking their implementation across departments and other organisations with regular reports to Parliament. Government response: we accept this recommendation. So, what do you think? Will this stop the exploitation, the sexual exploitation of our children, our young children? Will the victims of this exploitation be given justice at last? Will the perpetrators be given justice, receive justice? Will those that are illegal immigrants, will those that have different nationalities, will they be deported? We'll see. Until the next time, I've spent nearly 25 minutes on this. I'm not going to bore you anymore. Please press that subscribe button. It helps me no end. Like it if you do like it. Make your comments. There's always room for comments, and I'm always willing to read them and enjoy. I enjoy reading them. So do so. Now, what I'm going to say now is be safe, be good, and Goodbye from DJ. Bye for now. Bye.